The law hasn't changed at all. It's just a guideline, a directive for us to really focus on the reckless and dangerous hits, especially with the high tackles and contact with the head. So what was a high tackle last year is still a high tackle this year. So there's no difference at all. But this year, on and off the field, if you do tackle somebody recklessly, which means you knew there's an element of risk in making that tackle high, that you could have made contact with the head. And if that's the case, then you're looking at a card of some colour. So you'll be dealt with more harshly on the field. You'll also be dealt more harshly in the disciplinary afterwards if you get found guilty of a red card offence as well. A high tackle is when you tackle somebody above the line of the shoulder and around the neck. That's what a high tackle is, and that's what it's always been. So nothing's changed there. So if I come in and tackle somebody and I tackle him around here, now there are two reasons that can happen, and there can be two different outcomes with that. One, it's an accidental one. It's still a penalty, it's still high. But I could be 6'3", the guy with the ball could be 5'10.5", and he sidesteps inside me, and as he sidesteps inside, I catch him with a trailing arm with more of a reaction. So he's gone past me, and I catch him here as he goes past. So there's no force in my arm goes backwards. And it's more of a reaction than a willful attempt to tackle him high. That has always been a penalty, and it'll always be a penalty this year. It's always high. If somebody comes in, and I just come running straight at this guy, so there's nothing that's caused anything to differ my actions here. I come into this guy, and I come in with a swinging arm, so my arm is with force, it's going forward. I come in, and I just wrap him around the neck like this. He's done nothing to alter my actions, pretty much. My actions are illegal. I've come in like this, right around the arm, and that's a straight red. And that has always been a red because there is force in that. It's illegal, it's force, and it's straight around the head. The other type of tackles you're going to see is you tackle somebody here, your arm comes up, goes off, no force, just a penalty. Same way you catch somebody here, or you come in and tackle them, and as I tackle them here, my hand goes up like this and over. It's always been a high tackle, it's always been a penalty, the same this year. The difference is as well then is what you do next. So I may catch somebody here. As I'm catching him here, he may dip a bit, my arm comes up here, and it just goes over him, fine. But then if I find myself up here, but then I continue to do something, I continue to pull him or to twist him to get him down, then that will take the sanction from a penalty, probably up to a yellow then, because you've done something else after you've landed up high, which you could have avoided. What the referee will need to take into account are as well the height of this player and why. So for example, if I go in to tackle this player and I'm going in perfectly legal and I'm going in at a height to hit him here, as I'm going in to tackle him, this guy is ankle tapped or he trips or he's tackled just before me, and he now falls into me. So he falls into me now as I'm doing this, and I catch him as I'm doing a legal tackle. That will still be high, it'll still be a penalty, but it won't be anything more because my actions have been caused by him altering at the last minute, and there's nothing I could do because my tackles are already legal. If my tackle is illegal, it's irrelevant to what he does then. So he may well be ankle tapped, he may well dip and fall a considerable height, so he's that much lower if you think about it. But my action is illegal. My action is coming in with a swinging arm, leading in with the shoulder into him, and as he falls, he now makes contact with my shoulder, and my shoulder makes contact with him, and this is going to be a red card, irrelevant of his height, because my actions are illegal. My actions are illegal anyway, and then that becomes a red card. If my actions are legal, we'll take into account the height difference here for whatever reason it is. The message really is, get your tackles lower, where if you were aiming for somebody here, you are risking making contact with the head, and you've got to take responsibility for your actions then. So the message is get these tackles lower. You need to start aiming from here down rather from this area up. Because if you're aiming for this area up and you're making contact with the head, you're going to be in trouble. You're aiming from here down, and then there are circumstances that cause contact with the head. It'll be a big difference in why you don't get a red card, you just get a yellow card, or you get just a penalty. A lot of people are asking the question is, how can we defend then a player who's close in, diving for the try line. It's impossible to defend them. Well, it's not impossible to defend them, because if this guy is going down low, imagining he's quite close to the ground, he's diving in for the try line, I'm defending. If I go to try and tackle him now and sort of keep him up and stuff, I'm making contact with the head here, but it's not dangerous, not high. I'm trying to keep him up. That's never been a penalty, and it's not going to be a penalty now. What we want to get out of the game are the reckless, dangerous one where he's going to dive for the ground. I'm running across here and I try to dislodge the ball, or I just come in with a swinging arm and a smack, I cracked him across the head, or I'm running across and I just come straight around the neck and stuff like this to try and stop him. Those are the ones that are dangerous and reckless. Those are the ones that we want to get out of the game. So defending people, and the both of you are going down to the ground, and all of a sudden, as you both are going down, your hand slips up here, that's not an issue. What may be an issue is what you do next. So if you find yourself up here and then you continue to pull around the neck to pull him back up, then yes, that becomes a high tackle, and that's always been the case. You know, if you are going to tackle high in the Six Nations or in any other games, then you're going to have to be prepared to take the consequences, whether you agree with it or not. But I would think the majority of people, you know, would agree that we want to make the game as safe as we possibly can, and that's what these guidelines are there for. And we'll do our best as referees to make our decisions as accurate and as consistent as we can, and I'm sure the players will do their best as well in eliminating the element of risk. If you are going to tackle high, I'm sure they will do their best as well in getting those tackles lower, so that we minimise the element of risk in making contact with the head.